take away the Hecarim. This is rather interesting. Hecarim is one of those champions that actually doesn't clear in solo team fight that solo duel that well in the jungle for the early game. So this is BLG actually putting Meteor on something that doesn't create as much action and priority as he usually does.
No, but it is going to be a trade essentially, so Meteor not going to be on Olaf, Karsa not going to be on Hecarim. It's the opposite this time. But that Thresh pick that has been banned throughout the day, and we've actually seen Thresh as one of those top tier bans throughout the current meta. But this now gives a bit of adaptability in that bot lane. Not only do you have that pick potential that Zhuo can use this Thresh for, but Aphelios is always the thing people think of whenever you see a Thresh pick, that now he actually becomes something that you might want to fall back to.
Yeah, Thresh does provide a lot of protection against most of the engaged tools. And also, we have seen a lot of Thresh AD carry combos like Aphelios you mentioned, and Jinx in the LCK is absolutely massive. We still aren't on patch 11.4 yet, but you know, some players have actually elected just to go for that combo. The Flame Chompers into Flay is quite a nice one, but it will be the more standard option here. Aphelios being hovered. They're thinking about it. They're thinking, oh, I told you about the Draven game. Come on, give me the Draven game.
Give me that Draven. Don't do this to me, Knight. Go back.
You're a Draven main.
Rewind.
Even if JackeyLove says he doesn't want to play it, you should lock it for him. I'm sad.
Man, we're both sad. I want to see the Draven, but you know what, Aphelios, that's expected. They have Thresh. It's boring, but it's typical.
Yeah, that's just a standard matchup. You do have a lot of push potential against the Kaisa lane, and you can just pick away the tier 1 junglers at this point. Not junglers, supports at this point, to make sure you still stay safe in lane. This is basically each side sort of trading drafts, but now BLG has the option to play more towards the top side with BiuBiu on that Jayce pick.
But it is BiuBiu's Jayce to keep in mind. This is something that they love to be able to grab for him, to be able to dominate in the top lane and taking away some of the counters that you normally want to be able to draft to be able to beat him. I almost wonder if maybe they're trying to bait in 369 to play more of that standard tank that you sometimes opt into this Jayce, just to be able to more survive than really try to get that 1v1 potential.
Yeah, I will mention that we actually have seen earlier today Nuguri still taking the Gnar into the Jayce.
This is true.
I wonder if he's still going to be willing to do that one, or if he's going to go for something that is a little bit more standard. Surprisingly enough, Malphite has actually been one of 369's better picks. I think it's kind of a weird thing. You don't really think of him as a big rock in the top lane, but he can go for it if the situation calls for. And right now, Top Esports have a very, very strong team fighting team. This is front to back to the core, hyper carry, and we should just expect something like an Azir, something like a Victor coming out for the mid lane. Probably the Azir, given Zoe being selected right here. Do kind of like that matchup a little bit better since it has better push earlier on.
Could be that as bot lane is going to be Kaisa Nautilus, something that is also kind of a typical lane that you've seen in the past. No, not going to be that Azir like you were thinking there, Clement. Instead, it's Ryze for Knight. Now, Ryze is one of those picks that you see as this niche pick that is kind of just taken every once in a while, but whenever it's piloted, I feel like, especially lately, whenever you lock in this Ryze, it's really to be able to go to that old school control mage, but not to like the clear out minion waves, the I'm going to be able to bully you constantly lane.
Yeah, Ryze is I think he's a really interesting pick in the fact that he is I think very pilot dependent. Like, we have seen Ryze do magnificent stuff, but at the same time, he's not as usually consistent as something like an Azir. The strength about Ryze in these patches is that he is a tier champion. And tier is one of the strongest items in the game right now. A lot of people going for cheetah recalls. Laning phase isn't really important. He's able to stack that one up. He scales better than anyone else with the Archangel staff. So we are seeing him come back into the meta, but on a very select few players. Like, he's just sort of that champion. Like, if you see Faker on it, he's like, oh, this is great. He's gonna do great things. And then you see Closer on it, and he takes his team for a ride that maybe they don't want to take. So
see now, this is the thing. There's one thing that you didn't notice: the Sion pick. And you know why that's so important?
Oh, it's a teleport train game.
You got it. Yeah, we're able to piece it together. If you can time it just right, you can use that Realm Warp in tandem with the Unstoppable Onslaught.
Does that
from
actually work?
369. Yes. So you can teleport Sion, but you have to time it perfectly. You have to get it right as he's going over. And if you do, Realm Warp will bring him wherever, and he'll continue charging from there.
Okay, I want to see. I'm a little bit surprised because I thought unstoppable meant that you couldn't be technically crowd controlled by your own teammates. But
Is it crowd controlled though when you're just being moved through time and space?
That's a good question. That's a very physical question, though. I don't think I have the IQ to actually answer that one. It really is up to Riot coding. But if it happens, man, I will call you my senpai.
All right, so let's see if TES are big brain enough to be able to get the galaxy brain mechanics here out of Sion and Ryze. I'm watching. I'm gonna keep it like in the back of my mind this entire time. If I notice it, I'm 100% gonna interrupt whatever you're saying. Say it.
All right, feel free to go ahead with that one. BiuBiu gonna find a pretty good trade early on.
Nice.
Oh, misses the Q, but that's still good enough. Like, 369 can't actually walk up to the wave given how much damage that he takes. That's already the potion being popped right there. And just taking a look at the builds overall, we are going to have Spellbook, so just the normal onto Zeka, and a lot of phase rushes coming out from the top side. So they're going to be able to dance around 369 with a lot of ease.
Exactly, and since he's gone for the Spellbook as well, meaning that the Sion is not going to have the easiest of laning phases against BiuBiu, especially against BiuBiu's Jayce. He's going to try to maintain control and never really relent. Probably going to be able to get a couple early plates right underneath 369, who's going to be watching on in horror since it's Sion and Jayce, and it's not a fun matchup.
Yeah, you're just holding on for lane at this point. So BLG, again, I think this is a kill lane bot sign into early action with Meteor and Zeka. This is how they love to play. And even with that Jayce topside, I almost feel like they're not going to give that many resources over to the Jayce. I still feel like playing for this bot side kill lane with Nautilus plus Kaisa is probably where you go for on this one. Just taking a look at the runes here, we will see a lot of early rotations of spells being circled right here from the Unsealed Spellbook. It's kind of interesting to see players play this, but they basically want to get the reduced cooldown on Spellbook as early as possible as we see a good trade.
Nice dredge line out of Jway to be able to get a lot of damage onto JackeyLove. Of course, it is traded back onto Nautilus, but you'll take that. If you're going to be able to half health JackeyLove in a lane where you're pushed back and it's frozen right out of turret range, that might be able to set up Meteor, as you said, for this kill lane.
Yep, 2+ potion advantage there in the bot lane. Meanwhile, we see this is pretty common for the Ryze early on. Without enough mana and enough points into the EQ, he's not really going to be able to wave clear, so we should expect Zoe to have that advantage early.
Jway, come on. These are brutal. These are great. I love these hooks. I mean, this is a great change of pace from Jway in this lane. That's 2 dredge lines connecting just shy of the minions, like literally threading the needle.
Great play here, and this is what we want to see out of Meteor. Just playing off the strength of Zeka. He's got Ryze, 0 mana cleared out, and he's on a teleport recall. So very, very easy camp steal away. They are going to stay 1 camp ahead of Karsa, and I love this back coming in from Meteor. This is a really incredible back because 369 knows that Meteor could potentially still be on the top side, and his wave is pushing out. He has to play very, very carefully here.
And if you look at the mini-map, look at Karsa. He immediately tried to path down to be able to invade this red, knowing that Meteor's probably going to go for that kind of recall, trying to see if he can get some sort of reciprocated jungle XP. But Meteor had already cleared that out long ago, so the chickens only now respawn, but it's not really like you're getting that big of a lead over Meteor. He's already done the job that he needed to be able to put this pressure back into your face. So mid lane, Zeka is a bit overextended, trying to get that solo kill in the night. Gotta be able to flash over the wall to be able to survive, though.
Yeah, strong win coming in from top esports. Definitely didn't expect the angle that Karsa was coming from their own jungle. But now Meteor is looking to close off this side of the map. He knows that Knight once again has to back was forced very, very low, and he's just going to take over this quadrant of the map. We have seen Hecarim behind the tower ganks. It's actually rather potent because if you use max range on Onslaught of Shadows, it's a very long Terrify, and people run away from the Hecarim. So you can chase people out of turrets, and they are going to force the 4v2 right now.
Lantern with the play. Karsa's nearby. Going to be the flash away from Zhuo to be able to survive. Do they want to be able to at least get the root onto Zeka? Flash forward to be able to get it from JackeyLove, but it's a lot of damage put back on him. They got first blood they needed to, but it's still the trade of 2 kills for aiming right underneath the turret.
Yeah, that was a really smart Lantern from the side of not Lantern, sorry. A very smart positioning as we see all 4 members for BLG actually head into the same direction. They're able to get the target fire down, and Top Esports just overchase right there. Meanwhile, 369 pops his ult. Okay.
Uh-oh, Knight. Bad position right here. Lantern to be able to survive, but this is more that is being burned on the side of top to try to be able to fight back. And going back to your point that you're talking about with that entire fight, it was well done by the side of BLG because they got 2 kills onto aiming. And like I said, J-Wave, it was a really nice positioning to be able to stand in front of JackeyLove, so that way aiming was able to position to get so much damage down.
Yeah, if we get a replay of that, you'll see that J-Way actually purposely stood rather close to the tri-brush, and the initial flay from Zhuo plus the undertow didn't really get like aiming on the backside, so he was able to dish out damage, find the AD kill here. And just looking at this top side, you know, 369 is trading very, very aggressively, trying to bait out BiuBiu to go after him, but they are spotted.
Yeah, spotted out, and also the fact that it's going to be that Vampire Scepter versus the Bramblefest. This gives 369 a bit more of an advantage now in this laning phase compared to where it was once before, where normally this Jayce is going to be able to constantly harass 369, be able to try to see if you can poke him out enough. Well, not anymore. It's going to take some time and probably going to be a while, unless, of course, we're going to be able to get a dive attempted by TES. They brought in Knight for this play.
There's nothing BiuBiu can do here. The wave pushes in, he's just dead. I think BLG probably know this themselves and are just looking at this bottom line play.
Yeah, gotta get something on the other part of the map as BiuBiu. Ignite taken away, flashed right into the hands of Karsa, giving the kill over to Knight. Freebie for TES.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have flash right there. You're dead anyway, so just give up your life, understand that you're doing this for the greater good, and in the meantime, to be expected, BLG, with a sizable lead and no summoners from the bot lane, are just going to be able to zone JackeyLove away.
But I do like that call from JackeyLove and Zhuo to be able to back out of that one, saying, hey, we're expecting, since we showed 3 members topside, they're looking for the dive. They've already attempted it once and succeeded. They're probably going to get it again, especially with the dragon being up. But now that it's taken too long, Knight was able to rotate all the way over here and could have possibly put a little bit more fight around that blue buff, but unfortunately, I think they're just not confident enough just yet.
Yeah, this is... I'm not sure I like this rotation coming in from Knight. You have to expect that you're going to get spotted walking down there. Nobody is going to go in onto you. This is top esports with a bit of projection, honestly. They're just getting Knight down here to walk back towards the lane. He shows over there, turret plating in mid lane, Drake given over towards BLG. So that was actually a lot of momentum lost for top esports trying to bait BLG going into them. It doesn't really work out. And now they have to find an advantage against BiuBiu plus Zoe incoming. This Herald isn't going down really fast enough.
369's on the other side. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to be able to connect. And this is what I was talking about with that sign. He chugs his way right into the fight and trying to see if they can escape. Not going to be able to get it. Instead, it's going to be 2 kills for the side of TES. Rift Herald is secured by them as well. And Meteor getting a little bit of help from J-Way, flashing over the wall on top of Karsa. He wants to be able to get out of that, but Ignite was ticking, and it will pick up the kill.
Super messy fight from both teams right here, with BLG, I think, with more mechanical misplays. Kind of tragic that BiuBiu just got tagged out by the Unstoppable Onslaught, and the Undertow also landed through Portal Jump onto Zeka. That was a fight that I felt like they could have done a little bit better, but the mechanics going in favor of top esports as we do watch this again. All BiuBiu really needs to do is to bait top esports to wait a little bit more. They had a decent 3v3. They get Knight on the top side here. Very unfortunate for Zeka, and the Herald to go over. And this is kind of the play that I just feel like Top Esports, they went for a very risky move on the bottom side. They lost momentum, and then they just try to claw it back the entire way through. So trying to play through double prior lanes, getting tagged out right there. I'm not exactly sure that was worth it for BLG, even for Top Esports, even getting the Herald onto their own team.
We'll see what they're going to be able to do with that. Like I said, though, unfortunately, not really best play. It's kind of put them in a position where they're going to feel forced to have to try to see what lane they want to be able to get out of dodge. Slot lane, JackeyLove and Zhuo haven't really been able to fight back since that early dive. They got 2 kills over for aiming. 369 doing decently in the top lane, but I'd like to see maybe Knight be relieved of a little bit of that pressure that he's facing from Zeka mid lane. Oh, nice cleanse from aiming. Flash in with the play, getting the flash with the exhaust onto aiming. Using the killer instinct to be able to survive, getting a lot of damage coming in with that moonlight, but not going to be able to follow up any further. They want to be able to back out. They have that Rift Herald that they can pop if they want to be able to get a lot of plates.
Still a decent play coming out from Top Esports. They get double summon or trade, but onto the AD carry, so a little bit more important there. And good play from aiming. That was actually pretty impressive that he was able to survive even when the first death sentence landed there. They're going to move out of that one, and I think it's super important that he still keeps that bounty on him. 200 extra gold will be given over if he falls down, and I think the map state has shifted a bit towards Top Esports' advantage right now. Early in the game, Jayce and Zoe will be able to push against their opponents, but now Knight has gotten into that phase where Ryze's mana pool allows him to just shove the wave in against someone like Zoe, and also top lane's been doing very okay for 369. With that early kill into the top, with the extra summoners, he has been able to neutralize his lane completely. So now Top Esports are the ones with the shove potential in their solo lanes, and they're bringing it to the bottom side.
Meteor wants to be able to get into this top lane on a 369, but he's a pretty tanky boy. And look at that, Onslaught Shadows was able to get the knockback in with the fear, but Karsa is able to show up. He's still alive, trying to be able to get the double knockup, but there's going to be the TP coming in. BiuBiu taking pretty low. Realm Warp to be able to get away. It seems like Knight's constantly using that to be able to escape zombie form, not going to be able to get a retribution kill.
Yeah, great response from Zeka right there. Knight going a little bit too deep with the teleport, lands late, and his teammate's already dead at that point. That's an acceptable death from Sion, honestly. It doesn't really matter much at this point. The kill itself is not going to change the lane state that much. So, you know, it's just a bit of a trade. I think Top Esports are actually fine with that one. Just sinking a little bit too much resources. Knight definitely didn't need to go up there. They would have been much better keeping on to that teleport. But in the meantime, Top Esports are going to secure the scuttle, and it is going to be all about that Drake fight. I still expect Top Esports to be able to come out with a win here, since they do have double advantageous lanes in the solos, plus they still have that teleport up from 369.
Use that to be able to find a play, but BiuBiu has his teleport as well. So that's the only problem here, is that while this Jayce has not necessarily been able to dominate this lane because it is into Sion, and once Sion builds up some of that resistance, you're not really going to be able to kill him. But once you unlock him into other fights, you're going to be able to take down JackeyLove pretty fast. You're going to look to see if you can get a lot of damage onto Knight. Even Zhuo is not going to be that tanky, so a good shock blast can really rip apart TES.
It's going to be rather difficult, in my estimation. Top Esports just have too much of a front line. If you look at Karsa and 369, they're really hard to kill. Like, BLG, their entire team comp was built for backline assassination. Like, if they find someone in the back like JackeyLove, they might be able to win a fight. But I should assume even Top Esports with this gold deficit should still be able to take the Drake, given that they have just a better 5v5 composition and solo lane priority. They are going to spot out Karsa. Interesting. I didn't know the Void Seeker actually could get vision without spotting right there. We do see the pings coming down, so BLG, they should know about Olaf. Huh.
I think that he stepped out of the brush on accident. I think that's what happened. It seemed more like they had already known that he was there. So Meteor kind of rotating around. Karsa's been here this entire time. They're going to be able to get the double TP with a huge amount of damage onto aiming in the back line. Should be the first casualty in the fight. Jay trying to be able to escape, and he's not going to be able to get away from the Viking, who slices him down. They got the play on a Meteor, and they should be excited. Double kill for it. They got 3 kills in total for TES, 2 of them onto Karsa and a dragon in tow.
Yeah, Meteor just got played right there. That was a great bait from JackeyLove. He held onto his flash, waited for the onslaught of shadows, dodges out completely, and then Meteor is in the wrong position. The TP is coming up from BLG in the wrong position, and Karsa stayed around. Karsa was just patient with that play, waited for it to develop. He went straight for the Kaisa, knowing that the rest of the team could finish off the backline, and just a 4-man play with great results as Zeka. I think he gets something back. Yeah, he does get the blue buff back.
He's like, thanks for the leash. I'll take that. That's mine. I want to be able to spam more abilities and have a little bit more mana in this fight. But yes, going back, rewinding time, it was an excellent fight out of TES and really on to JackeyLove reading that position of where he needed to be able to dodge away, because he didn't even have to burn cleanse through that entire fight. All he had to do was expend his flash.
This is the crazy thing about JackeyLove. A lot of these games, we have seen him just caught out of nowhere, but if you do that enough, the opponent always assumes that you're not watching, that you will be available and vulnerable to those catches. But it was the long game that worked out for JackeyLove, and now BiuBiu is pushed way too far in.
Trying to escape, but Ragnarok gonna be able to chase him down. They want to be able to give over the kill to Knight, who uses that Everfrost to be able to pick it up.
We're still on 11.4. Everfrost hasn't been changed just yet. It's actually a lot more prevalent on 11.4, but you know, we are still going to see the same results coming out. And BLG are clawing themselves back just through the 1-3-1 play, getting that tower for the death. Not a huge issue for them. And now that they have Herald, I do want to see where they actually go for this play. I feel like they could potentially force top esports to show up into the mid lane with the Herald and try to poke them out this way. They do have a double poke composition with Zeka and BiuBiu, so if they actually have an incredibly strong Herald push.
Could work out for them, especially with that siege potential of Zeka. But I want to see what is going to happen when we get to these team fights, because I doubt that TES are even going to want to bother with any siege, bother with any of that poke. They might even just forfeit that tier 1. They might just say, here you go, have it, because we know we can't really survive if both BiuBiu and Zeka are tag teaming together to be able to get a lot of poke. And when you have a poke composition that isn't able to force those issues, they're not able to force those sieges, suddenly you see that this team fighting capability of TES rises in how strong it's going to be able to flex its muscle.
You remember that combo you talked about? I'm not sure Unstoppable Onslaught can be used in that one, but the theory is the same. You just get Sion into the backline, he's completely fine. And just look at this damage profile. They do nothing to 369 right now.
Well, they do a lot over to Karsa, who's able to get at least the Lantern to safety. Trying to see if they had the Killer Instinct, but it's not enough to be able to get onto Karsa. They're going to be able to use the Realm Warp to be able to escape. Meteor not able to get in range for the Onslaught of Shadows. He has to charge, but he's afraid. Not really sure of where he's going to be able to tag into the backline, so they back out instead, losing the support through it all, so they pop Rift Herald to try to make up for it.
Yeah, super risky for aiming to pop his Killer Instincts for that one. Not really sure it was worth, but they are eyeing JackeyLove at this point. No flash onto the Aphelios. If he gets tagged, he dies instantly. JackeyLove has to regen, and that's going to be the opening they need to give them the mid lane tower. Not exactly the best, because they do trade a kill back for that one. And just looking at the team fights, I can totally understand Aiming's build path. He's going straight for armor penetration. No one right now can actually kill 369 at this point, so you have to get that Lord Dominic's regard in action.
He's a big beefy boy. All he has to do is stand in front of everybody and nobody's going to be able to touch him. That's the difficult thing about a Sion. If you're not able to kill him early, you're not going to be able to kill him at all late game. But let's take a look at that fight.
I want to count how many seconds it takes for them to take a third off Sion. He's been in the fight for like 3 or 4 seconds. It's a 4v2 really at this point, and it just doesn't matter. JackeyLove with a really nice cleanse out as well, and Aiming goes super deep for Karsa. Well, the 369 just stands there, and there's not much you can do to him.
I'm waiting for my combo still playing. I'm waiting. It's gonna happen. Give it to me, 369 and Knight. I want to see the Realm Warp with Unstoppable Onslaught. Let this happen.
I'll be honest, I think it's a super risky combo to do. Why not just teleport the Sion to the backline and then use Unstoppable Onslaught? You don't really lose much by that.
Because it's not as cool, that's why.
That's a good point, that's a good point.
You gotta get the style points every once in a while, but you know what? right now with gold leads, we're having a bit of style coming in from Aiming. He's got a good amount of the gold for the team of Bilibili. And that's what they've been trying to rely on, is in this series especially, Aiming has been having that performance we wanted to see from him before, where previously he had been the one to be able to get a lot of solo kills. He had been the one that they had been utilizing for great success in that bot lane. Well, here in this series, he's been able to keep his own against JackeyLove, and even in a couple instances, been able to fight back well enough to be able to get kills over him.
Oh, Jayway actually flashes for JackeyLove, but a flash in return, and now he's in a bad spot.
Look at this. They're going to be able to get the Realm Warp coming in, but the backline, they lost JackeyLove. Zeka trying to get the cleanse to be able to stay alive. It's chased down by Karsa with Zhuo not landing the death sentence, but they're caught in a bad spot. Aiming realizes this as he's chased down by 369. Karsa on top of him as well, burning down to the red buff. Finally, he falls, and they're looking to see if they can get BiuBiu as well. Knight going to be able to finish that off. The only one left is Jayway, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to do enough since Meteor had long since abandoned him.
JackeyLove is just a great bait. Every time BLG sees JackeyLove, they lose their goddamn minds. They just go instantly on him, and they're like, we have to kill this guy. This guy's like Ike Boy, you know, he's gonna give us a free kill. And then the rest of top esports just come in from the flank, and like once you saw that engage from BLG, you knew it was over. The poke composition can't go and trade sides with the enemy team. They have to stay together on the same path, but Zeka could steal it. He does have the smite. Is it gonna happen?
He got him! He was able to get the kill under Karsa, and it's solo. They have to back out of that one because Zhuo is too low. Tried to use the portal jump, but JackeyLove is on top. Zeke gonna be able to get the kill as BiuBiu wants to chase him down, but without low, the rest of TES's, JackeyLove is gonna be able to back out, but Zeka stops the Baron.
That was actually a 200 IQ play still from top esports, as well as they back out and then make sure the Baron regens. That was a good play, but now the jungler is still alive for BLG, while Karsa is dead.
A lot of damage onto that. Not going to be able to get the Baron. It's secured by BLG, and they're going to be able to saunter on out of there. What Zeka had started, the team finally finished.
Oh, that just amazing play coming out from BLG, just saving this entire situation, and this is a really strong engage with numbers advantage.
Depth charge was used in the backline, but no damage really out of BiuBiu just yet with that shock blast. They're going to be able to get the lockdown, the flash away to be able to survive. They're constantly chasing this back, but they don't want to actually keep up the pressure. Instead, they're going to fall back, wait for the minions, and see if they can continue to make this Baron worthless for BLG.
I guess in my mind that worked out a little bit better for BLG than it actually played out. So, yeah, it's so hard to actually team fight right now. Like, we saw 369 once again just holding off a side by himself. Meteor chanced for the engage onto the backline, took a bit of damage, is like, yeah, this just isn't just gonna work. So I feel bad for BLG. They were on one track of the game plan, and then they kind of threw it away, because you could tell from Aiming's items, he wanted to go for the collector first. He was thinking, hey, I'm 2-0-0 in this game. I'm going to snowball. I'm going to take it to JackeyLove. You know, we're going to be the best team. And then he sees the silence, just like, yeah, forget about collector. I'll finish my Lord Dominic. Sorry.
He's like, I'm sorry. I got to kill this guy instead. I mean, and they still are struggling to be able to kill 369. Now that they got Lord Dominic's regards, I want to see how much damage they actually do to the science. I still feel like it's not going to be as much as you think.
It definitely isn't. At least with the Baron, they don't have to worry about side lane waves, so that gives them a great potential to start in Siege. And now it's actually top esports' turn to look for the engage. Now, we have been talking about the Realm Warps, and here it goes.
Not the fun one, though. Instead, it's going to be the one to cut off the retreat from Bilibili. They're looking to see if they can get the snipe out of Zeka. Ooh, nice. Sleepy Trouble Bubble, but it's on Zhuo. Not going to follow it up. Instead, they're just waiting for the minions. They want to keep the siege strong. They have Hecarim behind if they want to be able to go for this dive.
If Hecarim gets a max range, that's actually 2 seconds of crowd control. They're terrified that top esports are going to scatter, and they don't know Meteor's here. They scan him.
Idea.
They
Look,
don't
he's
see
waiting
him.
for JackeyLove. You know what he's waiting for. They're gonna be able to get the unstoppable onslaught, but it's onto the tank. And here comes Meteor right on top of JackeyLove, but he's still alive. They've got the kill on Jayce, and everyone else is low on top sports, but they're able to get a fight back. Support for support. Knight going golden, but the snipe comes in. Double kill out of Zeka to take them apart. And finally, the tank falls in the fight. He's ripped apart by aiming. The ace comes in from Bilibili.
That was such a 200 IQ play for Meteor. The patience to wait for everyone walking past him on top esports. And it nearly looked really bad for BLG as the backline stayed alive. But Zeka, with that focus horizon, is able to pick up the pieces. This probably won't be the game, but definitely the inhibitor.
Definitely the inhibitor. I wondered if they were going to go a bit further and try to see if they can at least get a turret, but you can see that Zhuo's up, Karsa is going to be up soon, same with JackeyLove, Knight, so it's a better call to back out of this one. Try to see if they can set up around this dragon, because now that they have a lane that's going to constantly push in, it's going to be great, but let's take a look at this and praise Meteor some more.
Oh, Meteor just coming in from the backline. Absolutely massive right there. It was a really good depth charge to force out the extra flashes from the backline right at the get-go. And watch Zeka as he cleans this one back from the brink of defeat. Gets 2 targets. JackeyLove burns down with the red buff. And I'm not really sure about the engage from 369. It was actually turned out to be really ineffective. He just slammed himself straight into support alone. Just into Jayce, wasn't able to actually touch aiming, and aiming was able to output damage throughout the entire 5v5.
I'm telling you, they need to use the Realm Warp to transport the Sion into the backline with unstoppable onslaught. Trust.
Okay,
Gotta trust.
Trust, baby. Let's go.
I mean, right now, Bilibili have a good position on the map. They're able to force back some of the vision that they had once lost. They had really nothing when it came to this river. They had no control. They had no idea what was going on. They were running in blind. Really, the only ward that they had that was successful was the one that Meteor was sitting on top of right outside of the base of TES so that they can make that play happen in the first place.
Yeah, and now they're in a very dominating position. Onslaught having to be used defensively. That means no engage on the side for top esports. They're already struggling to find a way to get into the backline. And with a large ultimate down like that, I feel like that's just the go-ahead button for BLG to actually just siege this one on. Like what Knight's doing right here, he's a very strong solo champion. No one's going to be able to match him right now. Yeah, I don't think BiuBiu can match him just yet. Given the kill distribution. Like, usually Jayce can have a pretty good fight against Ryze, but not against a Ryze that's 4, 2, and 3.
Right, and I feel like that's why they kind of sent Zeka nearby, more as wave clear than anything else. They got the objective they needed to. They got that tier 2 in the bot lane, so they can try to see later on if they do find this Baron that's spawning up here in about 20 seconds. That they can utilize that to immediately turn into the bot lane to take out that inhibitor turret as well. But at the moment, it does seem that it's going to be a steady dance around the objective. No team has firm control over this top half of the map.
So, the way this fight goes, the earlier top esports turns, the better. That means the less poke that they will take, and the more HP for the eventual brawl that will happen. Top esports should be the ones that are looking for the engages, but they just want to pull BLG out of position just a little bit. Look at how Jayce is positioning. He's trying to keep his AD carry safe by constantly body blocking the potential onslaught. And
I also like Meteor's positioning there too. Meteor was constantly positioned in a way to threaten JackeyLove, who wanted to be able to eat up the minion wave so it wasn't going to push straight into the base, which meant that TS had to have this long, drawn-out disengage potential. And again, look, it's rinse and repeated. Meteor is right into the backline once more, looking for JackeyLove, but unfortunately wasn't able to get him locked down long enough, and he might die. He had to use the onslaught of shadows to be able to escape, and he still gets executed. It's going to be the pick that they need to on the side of TES. Jungler is gone, but they are pretty low. They might have to reset.
That wasn't a drive-by, that was a drive-through, and he just gave a Happy Meal over to top esports. That's a bit of the anticlimactic end to that one. Just going in, and there was too many targets surrounding JackeyLove at that point for him to find anything, and I felt like that play could have been a little bit more patience. BLG do have a lot of poking tools. They can definitely try to expend them, land some damage before you go for an all-in. But Meteor just decides to go in, and the results really not what they're looking for.
But at the same time, Clement, what do they lose for it? It's not like the Baron was taken by TES. They couldn't really get a position. Meteor is going to spawn back in time to be able to contest. Look at how fast he's able to get out of the base. And BiuBiu will be able to TP back in as well. It's down to 50%. This Hecarim might be able to show up in time. Zeka's on the other side. He tried to see if he can disengage, but it's going to be the smite secured by Karsa just before they're going to be able to get him in position. And that was beautiful from Knight.
5-man roam warp straight away. They able to dodge everything, and Hecarim was just a little bit too slow. He wouldn't have actually been able to stop that. I was thinking about maybe Onslaught of Shadows being able to cancel, but he didn't really have that one up either, and top esports just make away like bandits with that one mistake from Meteor.
It's well done. Finally, I was wondering when they were going to try to capitalize on that one, because it got a bit dicey there. Meteor, if he was just a slight bit faster, might have actually been able to use the Onslaught of Shadows to get into the pit and smite that away. But doesn't matter. TES got the Baron. They've got what they need to, so now they can slowly push back against the siege composition of Bilibili.
This gold graph is rather interesting as we see Zeka and Knight trading hands on the upper hand. This is an LPL gold graph if I've ever seen one. This one with the next objective on the map is that Infernal Drake. This one's going to be absolutely massive. And what I want to see out of BLG is them trying to play this one rather slow. It doesn't matter if they lose it, but what they should use this objective for is target practice. They want to draw top esports into very clear ranges where they can just fire away on Zeka and Jayce. Even if it goes over to top esports, it doesn't matter. Just don't give them a chance for a full-on engage. Like that.
Night Vigil was able to get the lockdown onto aiming on the other side, but they focused Jayce instead, feeling that if they can take out the one with the CC, they might be able to win the fight. Knight's going to be able to get the kill credit for JackeyLove. He dove into the middle of everybody and he's knocked back. Here comes the killer instinct, but he's still alive. How the hell are you still alive, JackeyLove? Turning it back around, and there they go. BiuBiu, the last member, but he certainly falls. It is an ace with a triple kill on top of it with the Baron buff. Top esports are going to win the series.
BLG go too far forward in an objective that they did not need to secure. They could have let that go. They could have just poked out top esports. They face check instead, and top esports says, gimme, gimme. It's going to be a 2-0 to TES as they slam down BLG and their hopes at playoffs.
I still have no idea how JackeyLove lived through that all. That was nuts. You have Meteor on top of him that entire time. I'm like, oh, surely